want mommy, want mommy, want mommy, want, and she just keeps saying it and saying it and saying it, and it's like, I mean, and that little.
Actually, thank you for whoever clicked over to that. I had it paused during the idle chit chat. And just wanted to make sure we kicked off our town hall series with one talking about this, because I think the communications systems are really what's key as we're all getting to know each other, learning about each other's clubs, connecting with the new and different resources we've put together as CNY for you as members and clubs. And I'm really happy to have Melissa and Joe here to talk with you about the tools that are available through the news network, how it all works, what you can expect as you engage with it. And so I will turn this over to Melissa. And you're on mute.
I am on mute. I need a t-shirt that says I am on mute. Okay, so I actually want to turn this over to Joe, who has been an integral part of the news network. When you submit news stories, so you have something happening in your club, you send an email to news@cnyrotary.org. And the guy who gets it and answers it and plays with it and makes magic with it is actually Joe. So I would like Joe to explain his process, talk a little bit about what we're looking for and how we can help support the clubs. So Joe, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see some familiar faces. Of course, Don and Dana are fellow Utica Rotarians, so always good to see them. Legendary Jim High right down the street in New Hartford. It's nice to see John from Bainbridge there. You're a great weatherman because you knew that this weekend was going to be much better for a golf tournament than our club did last Sunday, which is why it got rescheduled thanks to Mother Nature. But yeah, so nice to meet new people, and pretty much my process is pretty simple. You guys submit stuff to news@cnyrotary.org, as Melissa mentioned. A couple things I like is to keep things in separate pieces. A lot of times people will submit like an article, and the photos will be embedded in the story and that type of thing. It's actually easier for me if like text and then photos are like attached separately. A lot of times when you put photos into Word docs and whatnot, it messes with the resolution of them. So that's just one personal thing of mine. A couple larger topics which we may touch on, but just because I've been seeing stuff in email, but I know Lizzie and Melissa have discussed about like branding, using the right Rotary cog and whatnot from the brand center with your club on the RI website. So sometimes when I get something from that's submitted, I'll not only just like scan it over grammatically to see if I see anything, but just as far as I'm the first layer of like looking to see and make sure that the logos that are being used is on brand with what is correct. We've gotten quite a few items from clubs where they've been using the Rotary cog that's like out of date, and we've had to just thankfully my more graphically talented peers on this committee and the district have been able to fix that for me because I'm not as good with the design aspect of things. And then I've been sending it back to those clubs just so they now have a copy of their logo correctly, but then also just as a learning moment. But pretty much, as this is a volunteer thing, just, pretty much common sense stuff is just please, if you need something posted in a timely fashion, try to get it to me, a few days to maybe even a week in advance, just because while I try to check the email every day, life does happen, and sometimes I might not get to it for every 2 or 3 days. I see a question from Rocky. What is the right size of an article for an article? I would say to keep things within 300 to 500 words, probably. I think that most Rotarians that I've met have a little bit longer attention span than some of the college students that I deal with on a daily basis at SUNY Poly, but generally trying to keep things as concise as possible is usually good in any thing. It's good for our news network, but it's also good too if you submit it to your local newspapers and whatnot because space is a premium. So anytime you can be concise with photos and stuff, it's always good. So that's pretty much my main thing is just separate pieces, making sure the brand stuff is all right, giving enough time. I will say I get a lot of posters sometimes from people to say, please promote this, and I'll put it as a social media post. Sometimes event posters initially are better to publish as an event on our website. So I know sometimes on your individual club sites, if you post an event to your site, there should be a button at the bottom that says like add to the district calendar. And I'd always recommend doing that because then it automatically goes to our set to our calendar, and I think the template we have set up for the newsletter, which gets emailed out at the end of every month, I believe it should pull that in automatically, right, Lizzie? So that makes everyone's life a little bit easier. So those are just a bunch of random thoughts for me.
Couple things I would add, Joe, that we've encountered in our first couple month and a half here is Joe is an editor. I mean, he's worked as a newspaper editor, so he's a professional. So he will go through your article, you know, make sure that it looks and sounds good. Also, if you submit an article with a headline that you might think is cheeky, but actually doesn't give people an idea of what's in the article, Joe may rewrite that for you because we want to make sure people know what the article is about when they read the headline. And also, I think to Joe's point, if you send in something that's more of an event, we're going to use our discretion to know that that's not an article that's going to go on the events calendar. And you're welcome to send those in, certainly are. But just know, like, not everything is going to go into the news network if it makes sense that it just needs to be an event post, okay?
Yep. So yeah, I know that that's pretty much, I think, most of the random things I've encountered so far. I did want to leave plenty of time for questions. I don't know if anyone wants to, in the district, wants to say anything else before, but Susan, you have a question?
I do. With the events calendar, do they describe the event or they just put the name of it? Because if I put in an article, let's say about our show that we do once a year and who's there and who's the featured artist, do those things get then put into an event calendar that just gives the one line that there's a woodworking show in Northville? Or all the other information, do I bother sending that, or can that be an article?
Well, I know that usually if there's events added, I know Lizzie's been doing that to the website. I haven't personally seen what it pulls in. But I would say that events are usually better if it's just the bare basic like sentence and just the who, what, when, and where. But if you have more text, like as far as like a lengthier text, you could possibly send it in, and it could be maybe a thing for both at times. Whereas if it's, we can add it to the event calendar, but if there's actual copy with it, then it might make sense to also make it an article. But I've just been getting a lot of stuff where it's literally just been a poster or like, maybe one sentence. And so that's more, I treat that more so throw on social media so people see it who go there first, but then also, we'll make it an event.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So Susan, yeah, to follow up on that, I would actually do both. And we don't put every single club event in the calendar, right? But like yours, the woodworking show, that is a major annual event. It's a fundraiser for you, like it's a big deal. So that would go into the calendar. So what I would do is I would submit the article to Joe talking about the event, talking about the history of the event, what you guys do, blah, blah, blah. And then I would also include maybe at the end, something brief. I'm looking at the calendar now, so hang on a quick second.
Yes,
But
I would include. I'm sorry, Melissa, that was my question. Could we just pop the calendar up on a share? And it might be easier for Joe to kind of explain the process he has to go through.
Well,
so when
I'm
Joe
receives
receives an,
posting the events, so the events would be a little separate from Joe from the news
right.
network.
So when Joe receives an email, it goes to the news network, which is not what we're looking at. And then if it's something big, so Lizzie, click on that. And there is a brief explanation about the event, kind of all the highlighted details. Probably with a link back to the website or wherever there's registration information, and that kind of stuff. So I would do both. I would create an article and then I would include a small paragraph blurb for the calendar, which either Lizzie or I can post.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Great.
welcome.
Thank you.
I see a couple other questions in the chat.
Joe,
Denise.
can I just touch on one more thing before we change the subject? Apologies. I just wanted to add, like Melissa said, I think it'd be especially great if you consider doing both because so many of us are new to each other. It would be great to know the history of your events and the ways in which it benefits the community or the money that you raise goes to a certain cause, sharing with folks kind of that background and context of your event and telling the story of why your club does this or loves doing it, would be just a great thing to feature in the news network beyond just putting in the events calendar.
Yes, all that is good. Now I know there's a couple questions, Denise, to your question about alt text, and if I'm writing in alt text. The way I put it in my template, I didn't necessarily see a spot for alt text. I don't know, Lizzie, if our website, what the capability is for that. I know for ADA compliance, it's a good thing to have, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look into our Club Runner, or at least on the back end to see how that would work on our site versus others.
Yeah, we do have
Really
opportunity to
good
go
question.
on the images.
And next question, how are people receiving this? Do they get nudged or do they have to come to the site on their own? From Pamela. So the newsletter is emailed out at the end of every month. And basically for the newsletter, at least the way we did the first one is every story I post to the site, I populate into the newsletter. The only time I might not do that is if in one of those poster things where all I get is a poster and no information about the event, if event has passed since or like in the time period. But generally speaking, every event that I post to the news network, it gets populated into the newsletter. What we did for the first one, structure-wise, and we're probably going to keep the same, is message from Lizzie up top. Club news will remain on one of the sides, and then I've been trying to separate out and put district news items on the right side. So that's stuff that's come from different committee chairs and items that just because to try to separate it out because sometimes people might be seeking either or. But generally speaking, outside of that newsletter, there's social media posts that we put out. Like I said, typically every article that I put on the website, I schedule a social media post on Instagram and Facebook. Otherwise, if you don't use social media, other than getting that monthly newsletter, there's not really anything else that'll direct you to it. It's just know that it's being updated. Generally speaking, I get anywhere from 2 to 5 new items a week. So if you go every couple of days, if you're interested in learning about what other clubs are doing, and just click on the News Network tab up top, that'll be there'll be stuff populating in there. So it's more of a manual process there. And Lizzie's been posting all of district like news items, whether it be a call for sponsors at the district conference or the recent tips and tools survey that Fred Daniels is doing to help people kind of gauge membership. Those items are being put on the front page of the district site. Also, the top 10 things Rotary clubs can do to stand out, which Melissa did a wonderful article for that with some tips. So yeah, so that stuff is in the news network, but also on the front page of the site. So just know that if you're looking specifically, like let's say you care mostly about district news, maybe you don't care as much about the individual club news, that stuff will be on the homepage. Whereas all of the items, district news and club news items will be in the news network tab on the site. Okay, do I have any other questions?
Can I ask one more? I just want, when did that go out already? The first one?
Yes, yeah, the first one went out. I think it was the first of the month. I think that's what we're aiming for. So generally, there should be another one that'll be going out in about.
Now, who receives them? Because I didn't get one. I mean, does it go to the presidents? How does it get distributed?
Every member.
Okay.
Yeah, I clicked the box, so I don't know if you've used email and Club Runner before for like your club, where there's a box for like active members. There's the district has something like that as well, active and honorary members. And Sam just pointed out in chat just to say maybe also check your spam because she says hers ended up there.
Okay.
And that does sometimes happen with newsletters. I know that too, working at the college. I work
But
at
do we-
CNY.
Do we get an email that it's there? I mean, because not, or do you have to just happen to go to Club Runner that day?
No, you
No,
get
you
an
get an
email.
email.
So have you been
Okay.
receiving emails like from Lizzie all
Yes.
along?
Yes, but I don't remember any,
This
any
one came through
newsletter.
from District 7180. We have since gotten Club Runner to update our name to CNY Rotary, so I think the September 1st edition will look like it's coming from CNY Rotary.
Okay,
So it's not coming from Joe or me or Melissa or some name that you might recognize. It's coming from.
I mean, the first one, there's nothing that looked like that format. I mean, I could tell a newsletter, but I didn't get anything like that. So, okay, I'll look for the next one.
How
Thanks,
does that label in the subject header? I hate to say this, I get hundreds of emails a day.
Mhm.
I don't read every one. So something has to catch my eye. So how will we recognize that particular piece of mail?
Do you remember what our subject line was, Joe? I'm gonna go look it up.
I was just about to
Not
look
off the
that up.
top of my head, but I could probably add something like CNY Rotary News or something in all caps or something, moving forward or something at the beginning that, Sam put it up. It was CNY Rotary News Network in review and title case. So first letter capitalized - July 24. So we can tinker around with that. And like I said, I'll put, maybe in all caps, CNY Rotary, News Network or something just to before that, or I'll play around with it just so maybe it sticks out a little better in the email. But I understand. Yeah, I also get a lot of emails, so anything, it's a good tip. Thank you. Any other questions from the group? Okay, well, before I go, I'll just say that, well, I'm not going to go, I'm just going to put myself on mute, but my email, you guys have the, obviously the CNY Rotary News email. I don't also mind, I'm doing a brave thing here, but I know Lizzie does it most of the time, but I'll also put my cell phone number in the chat. So just know that if you have a question, just the first time, please text and identify yourself as to who you are. And then just, I'm willing to be available and answer texts as well if that's easier, if you guys have a question about submitting news or whatnot. So I'll do that now.
So while we have a few minutes, I guess I would like to talk a little bit about our brand and how everything looks on the website, right? So if you have the opportunity, and Lizzie, maybe you can go back to show the News Network page. So when you submit stuff to the News Network page, as Joe had mentioned earlier, if your logo is included and your club logo is not the latest logo, we will ask you how you would like to move forward. We're not going to put non-branded graphics or what's the right word? Non-compliant?
Yeah, non-compliant.
Non-compliant graphics on the website. So that we are going to be careful about. That doesn't mean we won't publish your story. Maybe we publish your story without your logo or without a particular graphic that perhaps is, outdated. But we're trying to be really, really careful about the graphics that we use within the news network. And I guess you could call it, maybe we're trying to lead by example, I guess. If while we're talking about that, you need help creating a new logo, or you need help updating a website or your Facebook page or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help in any capacity. I can create a logo for you on the Brand Center. I can show you how to create a logo in the Brand Center. I can design new Facebook headers for you. I can design website graphics for you, Instagram graphics for you. We could even set up a cute little template in Canva that you can just kind of use as a plug and play. Anything to kind of make your lives easier, but to also help us all to stay on brand. So I did want to mention that.
I would just add, just from what we've seen come in so far, kind of the biggest violation of the brand is people using the mark of excellence or just the wheel, as you may know it, on their flyers. And if you put the Rotary International wheel on your flyer, that kind of implies it's a Rotary International event, but it's not, it's your club's event. So that's why it's important to go in and create your club logo so that it's clear this is a, Rotary Club of Syracuse event or whatever your club is. So that's been the one that we've kind of kicked back the most. And what you'll get back from Joe or myself or Melissa would be just some assistance and guidance. Because again, we will still publish your story. We just want to help you with getting up to date on your graphics.
So Lizzie, if somebody sent in the wrong logo or the wrong graphics, do you notify them about that? And then I'm wondering, in order to just maybe help the clubs, could you guys just update it and then just send it to them?
So the one that came in, I modified their flyer so that Joe could go ahead with posting it. And then sent back to them the modified flyer, the logo that I had created in order to modify the flyer, and a link to the video on the brand center on how to create their logo. So giving them the resources because the logo I had made for them was in the all black one, because their flyer was black and white. And I wanted them to be able to go in and create their blue and gold and whatever other versions they want.
Oh, that's terrific. Great idea.
Yeah. And like Melissa said, if you need more help than that, if you need more assistance, she's the queen of Rotary brands. So.
Does anybody have any other questions, whether it be about the news network or anything else that's going on in CNY Rotary?
When are you coming down to the southern tier?
Me or Lizzie?
Lizzie.
My area visits are still filling in. I think my first Southern Tier visit is set up for October 16th. But if someone wants to invite me down sooner, I'll come.
Where are you gonna be? Do you remember?
The 16th of October, I'm gonna be in Unadilla.
Okay.
Not quite all the way down south. But.
All right. Thank you.
Denise?
I just wanted to say thank you to Don for providing us with an update about the grants, and appreciated getting the information and knowing what was going on. So thank you for the transparency and for letting us know what was going on with that.
John?
Lizzie, if you're going to be in Unadilla on October 16th, we're just 10 miles from Unadilla. Are you going to let the clubs in the area know you're going to be there?
Yep, we're just putting together the final details, and as soon as the event details are ready, each time we have an area visit planned, when all the details come together and we're ready for you to register, I send out an email to every member in that area, personally inviting you to attend. So that's how you'll know when your area visit has been scheduled. You'll be hearing from me. And then you'll also hear from your area rep. So yes, John, you will be invited.
So one other thing that I would like to mention is we've been trying to do a lot of sharing on the CNY Rotary Facebook page and on the Instagram page. It would be super, super helpful if you could share some of the posts either to your personal profile or to your club's Facebook page and kind of keep the information spreading. We're also trying to build up the page, trying to get all the people that were on, say, you know, some of the old district pages to move over, etc. So by sharing and keeping that information kind of at the top of the news feeds, would be extremely helpful in getting that done. And we'd also like you to go through the new website and tell us, is this a tool that is helpful to you? And if it's not, what else do you need to see? What are the things that would make this a really valuable resource for you as a member of the CNY Rotary District? Thanks, Lizzie. I like the effects.
Just enhancing everything you're talking about.
So Joe's information is in the chat box, both his phone number, that's bold, Joe, that is bold, and his email. Anything that's happening in your club, if you came across a great Rotary story that you think should be shared with the district, I mean, feel free to send those things over. We may not be able to, I mean, if he really gets bombarded, we may not be able to print everything, but we're really trying to put everything out there that is being sent. And I think that is, you know, kind of keeping the flow of information going. I don't know a lot about some of the more Western clubs from me. So I do look at the news network fairly often, and I try to figure out what's going on and what some of the clubs are about. And then if I read a story that's really interesting, I'll Google the Rotary Club and go to visit their website or their Facebook page and see if I have the opportunity to learn just a little bit more about them. So you might want to try poking around a little bit in all that free time that we have. Dana.
I'm gonna ask this question out of ignorance more than anything else, but I noticed on the Facebook page that our youth exchange students are starting to arrive. Does anybody have any detail about that process?
I just know about Lisa, who has a student from, is it Japan?
Ours is here from Denmark.
Excellent.
Arrived yesterday.
It's always an exciting time of the year.
Yeah, I was hoping in putting up that post with a few of the pictures that came up in my news feed that it would get more people to share from, because, you know, they fly into different places around the district and, you know, clubs go and meet their student when they land. So there's no central hub for the photos right now. So if you have any photos, like John, if you guys have any photos from when your student arrived, there's a post on our Facebook page where you can comment and share your photos too.
There's also students heading out as well. And we have a club member who is traveling next month to Japan to see a former exchange student. So we'll hopefully have a story and some pictures for you after that reunion takes place.
That would be awesome.
I want to note to everybody before we go that our committee is planning some workshops that'll be kind of happening, I know, throughout the year. I think we have one maybe in the fall, right, Melissa? You're on Zoom. I'm mute.
Yes.
I wanted to also offer, since I've been bold enough to put my phone number in the chat, that in addition to putting stuff on the news network, having been a former journalist, if you're finding it hard to get like local media coverage of your events and stuff, I mean, I can't promise that I can give advice that'll make it happen, because, you know, there's a lot more success, for example, in community outlets versus maybe big chain media outlets. But I'm also happy to be available to offer advice or tips as far as that, if you're looking to expand your club's local presence. So.
Can we get a round of applause for Joe for taking
Yes.
this awesome job? He's really killing it. He's doing such a good job. And we're in constant text communication. And he really is just fantastic and perfect for this role. And we're very lucky to have you, Joe.
We
Well,
really
thanks,
are.
I appreciate it. And yeah, I think I'm like the second most texting person to Lizzie and Melissa than their spouses probably at this point. But
Well, any non-public image news network questions weighing on folks' minds? Don, go ahead.
Thank you, Lizzie. Not so much a question, but we posted on that field a one-page report about foundation grants. It's entitled CNY Rotary Foundation Committee Solidifies 2024-25 Funding. And I know a number of you have district grants and the regional grants out there. And during our training, our 3 training sessions throughout the year, we mentioned that we thought it was going to be a difficult year because, and this is not a criticism of the Rotary Foundation, but when you combine 3 districts together, it gets convoluted. So for the longest time, we were only showing $43,000 total in grant money for everything, and the actual figure was $136,000. So it took us, it took a lot of phone calls, emails. We had a Rotary Foundation trustee got involved, and we finally got the right figure on August 8th. So it took us a little bit longer than we thought. That right figure, monies for DDF that rolled over, is $136,928.65, of which $65,846,000 is meant for district grants. So right now, I talked to Dave Hennel last night, our grant sub-chair. He is putting the information into the Rotary website where we have to put everything in. We fell a few dollars short. We are short about $4,000 or $5,000. So we have asked a couple of clubs to, do they really need this much money, et cetera. So Dave is going through that right now. But I can tell you that every club that put in an application is going to receive money. So everybody will be funded. Might not be at that, if you ask for 2,500, you might get 22,000 or something, but everybody's going to be funded. And that was 38 Rotary clubs. So we fulfilled that promise. The process is and people say to me, well, why couldn't you do that early? Well, you can't because the form that's on the TRF website had us listed at 0. So as soon as we put a club in and put money, it got kicked out because it said you don't have any money. So that didn't get changed till like August 10th. And now we're set. And we're rolling it through. Of course, the main person at TRF went on vacation also. So she's coming back this week, and hopefully we'll have literally everything done. We'll get the message out, and you can start your projects. It's been an interesting month and a half, let me just tell you. A little bit worse than what we thought. But so anybody got any questions or anything? I'm more than happy to answer any of those.
Well, my thanks to you, Don, for getting through those trials and tribulations, and my apologies because the club runner transition went really smooth. So I think that made it all go on to the foundation transition instead. So I'm glad that it's getting sorted, and thank you so much for the work.
Yeah,
on
we'll get that. Now, I do have, can I make one more announcement here? We would, we're CNY Rotary, and we're 3,000 Rotarians strong. And we brought together under Lizzie's leadership some really outstanding clubs. And we're going to have a Rotary Foundation celebration on November 17th. So if you could, that's a Sunday. Okay, so it's going to be like a brunch type event. We're not exactly sure where it's at yet. That we need to find the best place. This is going to be an event like the 3 districts that merged have never seen before. I can tell you that this is going to be something. We're going to kick this thing off. We have a committee working right now pretty hard. And there's some, Jim High is here, Dana's on the committee. Also, Katrina was on the committee here, was here somewhere. I want to thank Katrina for all the work she's done with those district grants too. I mentioned that. Thank you. But again, mark November 17th, Sunday brunch. That's Foundation Month. So we're going to have an event that you have never seen before. Just want to tell you that. Okay. Thank you. That's
Thanks, Don.
it for me.
I'm very excited about the November 17th event and to share with everybody, you know, more details as they come together.
Right. In about 2 weeks, this thing's going to hit.
Excellent. I did just give them a little instruction, Don. I said they're gonna have to wear their Sunday best because we're gonna get fancy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a dress up affair.
Yes.
So I hope to see everybody there. We're taking pictures of you, so we know you're here, and we're recording. So, so everybody can't say, "Well, I didn't know it was the 17th." So.
Any other questions out there? We did not have any pre-submitted.
This is another random thing. I don't know yet how to communicate these things, but I'll be going to the zone event September 18th through the 22nd. As I know quite a few people will be as well. But just note that if you need stuff posted to the news network, while I do plan on bringing my laptop there, anything that needs to be posted mid-September-ish, try to get that into me a little bit early if you can. But just so I can get all of that updated before I might be off the email for a day or two.
And that's okay, Joe. You're allowed to not, you're a volunteer. You're allowed to not be on email for a couple of days.
Yeah.
As long as you're at the Rotary Zone.
That's right.
Fun for you.
One thing I just want to share, just because area visits did come up in our chats tonight. Gonna share my screen again here. If you go on to our website, and you go under, not all my Zoom stuff is in my way. Under the events tab, you'll see a page here for area visits. And it opens up into this page, which tells you a little bit about what's going to happen at an area visit. And it has a list of all that have been confirmed. And now some of them are just save the dates. And we don't have all the details yet to be announced. If you see a link here like this, that means you can go over and register for that event. So we've got a couple here with registrations currently open, but still some details coming together for the rest. And obviously more will get added as they get planned. If you aren't sure what area you're in, you can click on this link over here to bring up this map. And you can find your club on the map and it'll tell you Cobleskill, you're in area 21. Camden, you're in area 4. Hudson Falls, you're in area 18. So you can go back and double check. Do I have an area event scheduled yet? Nope, not yet. And if you want to reach out to your area rep because you have an idea for what you could do for your area visit, here's their contact information. Yeah, everybody's areas might be a slightly different, at least have a different number, certainly, since we went from our smaller groups into our big groups. So help you get acquainted with what your number is currently.
Can I show up to an event that is close to me, but not necessarily my area?
Yeah, so far the area events have been planned in such a way where they're at a venue that has enough space that everyone can be welcome. And certainly, you know, if it's convenient for you or you're intrigued by the event venue or you just want to join in the fun, you are welcome to register and join in.
Cool.
If we are to come upon one where the space is limited, you might see a note about that. Because
Okay.
we do want to prioritize that the members in the area get to go first. But it's worked out pretty well so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. The parting glass one is like pretty close to where I live. So
Yep. Definitely welcome to join in there. But I think yours is getting booked. Melissa, your official area visit is getting booked for that week too.
oh, okay, cool.
Yep. Yep. Details are coming in every day for these events. And we have a new system on Club Runner called Cloud Events. So when you click those registration links, you get this pretty easy form. If you have any feedback when you go and register on what your experience was like, and if you hit any snags, we'd love to hear it because it is an all new system. But it's a pretty cool system for setting up registrations and kind of building out the whole event page so you get all the information. And in the future, we'll be able to accept payment through that system as well. I'm going to give you a couple more dates that are important coming up. Saturday, September 28th, we have a Rotary Leadership Institute in Vernon, Verona, Sherrill High School. So you are encouraged to attend. They're offering levels 1 through 3 and graduate. And the registration for that is at rlinea.org. We also will have 3 more opportunities. You're going to get an email soon with a link for several that are coming right up and registration is open for. We also want you to be saving the date for district conference. So our conference will be April 4th through the 6th, 2025, the first weekend in April, and it'll be at the Hilton, downtown Albany. And it is combined with Learning Assembly, something we previously called District Training Assembly. You will be hearing more about how everything training is now learning. So District Learning Assembly will be that Friday, starting bright and early at 8 a.m. with breakfast and a full half day of learning. And then we'll take a little break. You can maybe go tour the Capitol, get some lunch, and come back and we'll kick off conference in the evening like we usually do on a Friday. So just want you to be planning ahead for that because it is a weekday. So for some folks that might mean a day off from work. That's what it means for me. All right. Any last questions? Appreciate you all being here, taking in this information. Appreciate your engagement and questions. And to all the leaders for being part of it tonight. And we'll set up another town hall for you for September and hopefully have another topic we can cover as well as answer any questions that come up. So watch for the invite for that.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for
Take
being here.
care.